Couple years ago, I had to send this watch to Omega Service Center for a full service because something got stuck inside and the watch stopped running completely. The crown wouldn't turn and the chronograph pushers got stuck and it won't push down either. I remember this happened when I tried to activate the chronograph by pushing the top pusher. Then I heard a loud metal clunking sound coming out from the inside of the watch. I knew immediately something went wrong, and the second hand stopped beating right after that. I was so shocked and depressed because this was in the very beginning of my watch collecting journey, and that was the first time I witnessed a watch just broke like that. This piece was my most prized collection at the time, and it still is today. So I left work early that day. When I get back home, I immediately started searching on the internet for solutions. It didn't take long for me to realize that I needed to send it off for a full mechanical service. And it's gonna cost me. And on top of that, it's gonna take month before I see it again. So I called Omega Service Center on a Monday and asked about a full service for my Speedy. The representative didn't really care what went wrong with my watch. It's like whatever was wrong with my watch, a full service will be needed. And she couldn't tell me the price of the service until their watchmaker took a look at it. I promptly agreed, knowing that it's most likely gonna take more than a couple months before I get it back. One good thing about Swatch Group Service Center is that they will send you a prepaid shipping box and packaging. I received the shipping box in just 2 days, and it is fairly easy to pack the watch and drop it off at FedEx. After about 2 weeks, I received a letter from Swatch Group and I knew this must be the bill. I couldn't wait to open it, and I was just thinking how much they're gonna charge me, I'm going to just pay it right away so they can start working on it right away. On the invoice, it describes the condition of my watch. It says the bezel shows signs of shock. Yeah, I do have some marks on the bezel here. And it says the watch is now running. Yeah, that's right. And the bracelet shows signs of wear. And the crown is worn. And down here in the description says complete maintenance service. And it cost $750. Plus shipping and tax, it comes to a grand total of $843. It is quite a large amount of money. On this invoice, it also says there is a 24-month warranty, and on the back, it explains what the complete maintenance service includes. They'll take the watch apart, clean and oil the watch movement, and repair or replace any of the worn or damaged parts. They'll replace the crown and the pushers and all the gaskets and seals. And then they'll refinish the case and the bracelet. After 2 months of waiting, still no signs of my Speedy nor any update. I called the service center and asked about the progress of my watch. The representative said it is still being worked on. I mentioned that it's been more than 2 months. She says because my watch is complicated, so it needs more time to work on. Well, that made me feel a little bit better because I know my watch is very complicated. Another month passed by. I still didn't receive my watch, then I called them again. Now they said the maintenance service was completed and they couldn't ship it out because they need to verify my payment. I was confused and just went ahead and checked my credit card transactions. Somehow I couldn't find any charges from the Swatch Group. So I guess maybe my payment didn't go through in the first place, or they didn't do the payment properly, I don't know. So I just paid it again while we were on the phone, thinking my Speedy was probably ready weeks ago and it was just sitting there. They didn't bother give me a call or let me know about the payment issue. If I didn't call them and ask about it, I will be waiting even longer for my watch. Thankfully, soon after we got off the phone, I received a FedEx notification says there is a package to be delivered the next day. Well, at least they shipped it out right away via express mail. Then the next day, I had the package, and the watch came inside of a red Omega travel case. It did look better cosmetically, and many of the small scratches were gone. The bracelet looks brand new. It seems they didn't do anything with the white gold bezel since the marks were still there. Well, overall, I'm very pleased to have my beloved Speedy back in the collection. It also came with a bag of old parts that were replaced. Looks like they replaced quite a few parts. There is the old winding barrel, and they replaced the both pushers and the crown. And this looks like one of the chronograph needles, and a few gears and a couple seals. Looking good, having some new parts in my watch. But when I test out the chronograph, then I found something was wrong, and it is weird. When I activate the chronograph and the chronograph is running, if I push the top pusher and the needle should stop, because it is the start and stop button. But instead of stopping, it somehow resets. We all know the reset pusher is at the bottom, but no, if I press the top pusher to start the chronograph and I press it again, it won't stop, it resets. Obviously some gear inside of the movement is wrong. So I immediately called them back and explained the situation. They want me to send it back and have it fixed. And no prepaid shipping box this time. I quickly packed it and shipped it back, and at this point I just wanted my watch to be fixed so I can have it back. Thankfully this time it didn't take that long. I got my Speedy back in about 2 weeks. On the new invoice, it says a partial service is required in order to adjust the timing of your watch. It also came with the old part that was causing the problem, and they replaced it. If there was any watchmaker watching this, please let me know. How would this gear cause the start and stop button to reset the chronograph? I'm very interested. This gear looks like the chronograph second hand found at the center of the movement. There's also a timekeeping record showing my watch is off by 9 seconds a day. Not a very accurate movement, but it is so beautiful and well finished. This Speedy is one of my most complicated. I just dig it. The dial has 4 sub-dials, pretty much filled up the whole watch face. Other than the 3 normal chronograph sub-dials, it also has a date display and a Moonphase within it. The numbers are so small and pretty much unreadable, but when you tilt it towards light and you see the stars, it is just so beautiful. This Speedy originally came with a closed caseback, But after learning about this Omega Movement 1866 has some of the best finishes. Tim also mentioned the finishes on this piece is comparable to some hand-finished movements. So I decided to purchase a aftermarket display caseback. I found someone in Germany who makes aftermarket casebacks for some Omega and Rolex models. So I ordered one specifically made for this model of Speedy. But when I received it and installed it, I found there was a problem because there are no screws holding the movement in place. The movement is secured by just the caseback pushing against this anti-magnetic shield. Then it holds the movement tight inside of the case. So if you want to switch to a display caseback, then you can't use this anti-magnetic shield because it'll just cover up the movement. So this display caseback I ordered came with a spacer. It is to be placed between the caseback and the movement. It'll push the spacer, then the spacer will push and secure the movement. But I believe the spacer I received was the wrong size. It is a little too short, and after I tighten the caseback, it doesn't touch or reach the movement. So if I shake the watch, I can hear the movement is loose inside. I tried to contact this guy in Germany, and I sent many emails asking about the spacer being the wrong size, but I didn't receive any response. I thought I'm gonna have to write it off, and I can't let the movement sitting loose like that. Sadly, I put the original case back on. It is such a shame to cover up this beautiful movement. After quite a long time, a few months at least, out of nowhere, I received a small package and it was sent from Germany. I couldn't believe inside of the package there was a spacer ring, and it looked to be a slightly taller one. There's no doubt this spacer must be the correct size. There was no notes in the package, there were no emails, no nothing. But it did send out the correct spacer eventually, and I respect that. I guess that's just how he is. No customer service, but eventually he'll make it right. I put the new spacer in it and it fits perfectly. I cannot be more happy with the result. It took a long way to get to this. More than a year since it broke and had to be serviced. Then it went back to be fixed again. Then finally I have a perfectly fitted display case back. Now every time I pick it up and look at it, I feel this watch knows who I really am. It's good to have it as a companion.